Thank you. Next proponent, please.
Chairman, committee, my name is Representative Dave Howard, and I'm from House District 60. I chair the Human Services, and I sat where you are for about 4 different bills that we went through and hundreds of people testifying. I wanted to start a little bit with my background. My background is I was a CID investigator in the Army during most of the Vietnam conflict. I was an FBI agent in Chicago and also here in Billings. In Chicago, I worked political corruption and police corruption. Then I went with the Bureau of Land Management, and I was the chief of law enforcement for the Bureau of Land Management. And for 4 years, I was the operations chief on the campaign against marijuana planting. That was in 1981 to 1985. During that time, the drug czar for Reagan was a fellow by the name of Dr. Carlton Turner. Dr. Carlton Turner had worked for the University of Mississippi that would later be known as the National Institute on Drug Abuse. And there he studied all drugs from 1950 to the 1981 when he gave us our presentation. When he gave us our presentation, he told us that he would take almost any of the drugs, crank, heroin, methamphetamines, under clinical conditions, but he would not take marijuana. Every time they did a human test on marijuana, it scared them half to death. That's in 1981. Since that time, there's been thousands and millions of dollars spent, presentations, all types of stuff, all types of studies. And what is studies? It's our history, it's our background. You see, there's multiple of you. There's some here that are pastor's background. There's some of you that are attorney background. There's some of you that have served in Vietnam. Before I went to Vietnam, I asked a World War II veteran, what's combat like? He said, you don't want to know. You don't want to know what it's like. Well, I can tell you that if you work political corruption in Chicago and you see how insidious it is and what it does to the humans, the people, and that what's going on, you don't want to know. It's terrible. But let's relate it to Montana. In testimony we got before my committee, a fellow came before us and said he served 6,000 patients. Now let's think about it. They're authorized to grow 6 plants per patient, 3 times a year. They claim the plants are only 4 foot tall and will only produce 7 ounces of dope. I have seen plants indoors that was 16 foot tall. One bud that long would have probably produced 7 ounces of dope. But let's just say they're right. Let's just say it's only 7 ounces of dope. Well, you know that 6 times 6,000 is 36,000 plants? And do you know that 36,000 times 7 ounces is 252,000 ounces? Times $225 street value is $56.7 million bucks. Times 3. Add in the other 22,000 cards. And you got $1 billion business, and what are they going to spend that money for? You have no idea. You can't fathom what's going to happen. I can barely fathom what's going to happen. Right now, you can run for governor, and you can get the expenditures of and support of $1 million. You can run a very successful campaign. But in the future, they'll pump 20 million, 30 million. Then they'll run their own attorney general. And then they'll start taking your jobs. It'll be money like you never even imagined. The tsunami that just hit Japan, I saw a picture of it. Those people could not imagine 30 feet of water hitting them. The state can't imagine it. You can't imagine what's going to happen to us. But I can tell you that I felt, with all of the communication and all the stuff, a tremendous amount of responsibility, as I said in that chair, and every one of us did, because you are going to be able to decide literally the future of this state. This state was built on independence, self-sufficiency. Right now, it's known as a drug-producing country. 2 guys were just arrested down in South Dakota with 6 pounds of dope, and they were from Billings. That's $25,000 worth of dope. This is a scourge. Then I thought, gee whiz, we have the National Institute of Drug Abuse that's telling us this is a terrible Schedule I drug. Marijuana users experience acute toxic psychosis, which includes hallucinations and delusions. And today, I submit to you, you're going to see it. The FDA dismisses the medical benefit. The Federal Drug Enforcement does. Now, I was starting to think, wait a minute. Here we are, a citizen legislature, and we're going to decide who gets medicine and what medicine is. Just think, if we use that attitude, gosh, we could have medical crank, medical heroin, medical cocaine. That's lunacy. We know it's lunacy. So is medical marijuana. I'll pray for you guys because it's going to be tough. Thank you very much for letting me speak before you.